Hi, and welcome to my colorful journey to creativity. My name is Cynthia Fernandez, and I'm excited to introduce you to the people who inspired me to be the creative person that I am today. This is my mom. She'll be 80 years old in a few short weeks. We were five children and she used to make our clothes. In fact, my sister and I were 3 years apart, and we always wore matching outfits. She used to make our Barbie clothes with any extra fabric that she had left over. We always had the best Barbies in the neighborhood. By the time I got to high school, I made my own dress for some of my senior events. That was fun. I thank my mom every day for inspiring me at a young age to be creative. By the time I became a mom, I was crocheting blankets and even sewing a bedroom ensemble for my daughter. Today, I still have crafting events whenever I can. I made my daughter's wedding bouquet and prom flowers, but I stay away from dressmaking these days. My mom still sews, and when the pandemic hit, we were both sewing masks for the family. These are my parents. My dad just turned 84. He worked tirelessly to support our family and even sent us to private schools when we were young. I'm the only one who actually went all 12 years to private school. I loved it there. It was a kind of nurturing environment that really helped me to grow. This is my class was when I was in 3rd or 4th grade. I was playing piano by then. My parents bought me a piano and I started taking lessons when I was in 2nd grade. Just little things. But by the time I was in 4th or 5th grade, I would even have recitals. I loved that part. We would practice at school with a nun who used to whack us on the knuckles periodically. It was a good thing. I really had fun playing piano. I got really good as I continued to take lessons through high school. That's how music became an important part of my life. Just the listening part, though, not the singers and the songwriters or the years that the music was made, just the music. I thought about some of the important people in my life at that time, and I remember being close to these three men. I only dated the guy in the middle, but we spent a lot of time together. The author of our book talks about whether being a childhood prodigy led to more creative adults and found that there is no real evidence to support that. Instead, he suggests that a keen sense of curiosity does appear to be common in creative adults. And that's what made me think of these three individuals. They used to ride their bike to my house, mainly to see if they could, because it was so far. And they did it just to hang out. We talked for hours and we created games to play. We redesigned our backyard, we moved plants, dug holes, and just about anything we could. We were best of friends. They were always encouraging me to be better, inviting me to hang out to maintain my adventurous spirit. As we grew up, we still continue to give advice to each other and just talk things through. Believe it or not, I still chat with two of these men at least once a month for check ins. This is a very important woman in my life, along with her husband. Mrs. Russell was my Girl Scout leader. I know that I was in Scouts from a very young age, but I really only have memories of her from about 6th grade. This woman did everything with us. She's the one where she was the one that created a real spirit of adventure for me. When you think about inspiring surroundings as a kid, I was introduced to some of these kinds of places thanks to the Girl Scout program and this lady. I climbed mountains, drank spring water, went to wells to swim, picked apples in orchard, and stayed on Indian reservations. All of these places were spectacular. She literally taught us to sit still and just enjoy the views. I love this woman. To this day, I still love long hikes and quiet scenes where you can just sit and be still and let your brain be free to consider life. This is my 8th grade class. I chose this picture because in the yellow flowered dress is Mrs. Quinn. She was the 7th and 8th grade science teacher. I remember as a student, I loved her science class. It was always so interesting. What is strange is that I remember that people would try to get her to tell us stories. I loved the narratives she shared, and only now have recognized that this was her hook. She got us interested in the lesson by sharing stories and then waiting to link it to what we were learning. As kids, we didn't know any better. I'll never forget that she was the first one to give us a test that had all of these long questions, and we plowed through each and every question. And only when we started to wonder, oh my gosh, how many more questions are there left? That's when we just flipped the page to the end and saw the final question that said this: Did you read the directions? When we went back to the beginning to read the directions, it said, write your name on the last page and turn it in for a perfect score. Now, most of us didn't do that, so it was a very good lesson. I may have to bring that little gem back out. Thank you, Mrs. Quinn, for helping us learn to always be curious about life and to never stop asking questions. I think there was a lull in my life right after high school and before marriage. The only thing that I can remember doing was working and going to school. It really was all about going to school. I had a boyfriend who I thought I had to spend every waking moment with, so I don't recall doing much of anything at that time. Friends were all making some kind of transition, living in the dorms, which I didn't do in my own hometown. It was just a lull. I don't remember anything exciting from this time in my life. Then my life started over when I became a mom and I became a Girl Scout leader and had to create my own world with my family. This was a defining moment in my life. The people who had impacted my life the most influenced what I did from then on. There were three things that I wanted in my life: to find some inspiration in everything that I did, to make sure my children enjoyed the same spirit of adventure that I had growing up. I wanted them to learn to create memories at every turn in life so that there was something striking about each memory. I wanted them to love deeply and dream of all the possibilities. That was the goal. Lisa Allison. She's my national sales director and dear friend. I met her because of Mary Kay. She helped me build my confidence and believed in me any time that I had doubts. We've been friends for 19 years and our family has have become intertwined. My daughter babysat for her girls over the summer. I was her office assistant for a few years and today we continue to work together. She challenges me when I feel like I'm stuck. She helps me to think back to what my dreams were so that I can move forward. Sometimes we forget to do that. And if you're going to be a creative individual, you always have to have something in front of you that you're working towards. That's what she gave me and continues to do for me today. My favorite creative element is photography. I'm not a graphic artist, and this is nothing that I don't have anything that's been published, but I do take some really great photos. I got my first camera when I was in high school, and I remember taking pictures of everything. My uncle helped me to understand how to work the aperture and shutter speeds. I put my camera down for a long time, but when my cell phone started taking amazing photos, I bought a new digital camera and now I've done the baby photo shoots of each of my grandkids. I take homecoming pictures, prom pictures, bridal pictures, and all sorts of family memories. This is one of my favorites. It's my middle daughter during her bridal shoot at an antique car museum where she had her wedding. I feel like the light just captures her personality. This is another fun picture that captures the moving ride just in time. I wish it had been turned more towards the ground to capture their faces, but my daughter still talks about this ride. One of the creative things I brought to my family is Christmas theme parties. I love them. We do something different every year. We have a pretty big family and kids of all age groups. We normally have a theme every year. Some of my personal favorites was a lip sync contest. And the week of Christmas, I made Kiss costumes from scratch. You've never seen a steel guitar until you see the foil guitar I made out of a cereal box. We won the trophy that year. And this picture is an image of a cowboy Christmas. It was a more recent one. Everyone gets into the festivities, and with so many people in the family, nieces and nephews and the like, it isn't about presents. It's about the activities, the theme, and even the family plaque that goes around during years when we have contests. I thought everyone did these crazy things, but not everyone is familiar with our family traditions or even the traditions of my family. We're Hispanic and we do celebrate the Day of the Dead, but my group of women I train with in Mary Kay came over for some of the festivities. Many of these women were from different cultures. It was so much fun to introduce them to the foods, the music, the crafts of this time of year. I love that my creative thinking cap comes out every so often so that I can truly immerse my friends into this experience. Traditions can be created and some are meant to be kept, and others will change along the way. This is one of the ways that I help my family to feel creative in their own way. We still color Easter eggs by hand and we make homemade confetti eggs. The kids get all the supplies they need to create their own masterpieces. I love that I can help them have fun with this creative activity that has been a tradition in our family. The other thing we do is to have a Christmas cookie day where the kids come together to make homemade Christmas cookies in my home. Some of the recipes are by special request, but there's always sugar cookies ready for creating Christmas memories. Check out my alter ego, Edna Mode. I found this doll while shopping, and initially I got her because I thought she looked just like my daughter did while we were shopping. I bought it immediately. Then, when my director suit matched her outfit, I decided to bring her to my Mary Kay meetings. This is one of the creative ways that I have captured the hearts of women here. This doll has a button where she says positive things to women about being positive, well dressed, and just busy saving the world. I love her. Now I come dressed like this in the middle of pictures and do training. Um, you can just imagine the fun I have looking up close into the camera during a Zoom meeting. I use her voice and everything. Just learned that to really help students learn, we have to get them to have an emotional reaction to what we're doing so that they remember. Well, Edna Mode is exactly that. She is exactly what we need sometimes to have an emotional reaction and just maybe some laughter. If you recall, I mentioned that I wanted to teach my children how to have a spirit of adventure. Well, that means I try to turn every stop of the way into something crazy fun. I promise this doesn't take some this does I promise this takes some creativity. There is nothing about being in the car for 17 hours that is exciting. But when you stop to do silly things along the way, it sure does break up the monotony, even for my husband. I've taken my kids to at least 12 different states on vacations and helped them to see and experience new things. I even went scuba diving. And I won't say it was one of the most creative things I've ever done, but it certainly was the bravest thing. Getting into character is just part of the fun, even when you're underwater. Now that our children are having children, we're working to teach them that exploring the world around us is about being a little silly, having an open mind, and being open to all the possibilities. We've explored caves, done basic things like feed the ducks, and even felt awesome in a miniature giant chair. Okay, all in the spirit of finding adventure. These are just a few of the women that I have mentored in the Girl Scout program. When I look back at these pictures, I realize that I am closing my chapter of this inspiring journey that Mrs. Russell started. She taught me to be a good Girl Scout leader, and now I spent the last 30 years teaching girls how to learn, explore, respect, and grow in the Girl Scout program. I've taken this particular group to Georgia and to Paris. Yep, I took 22 girls on a 10-day trip to Europe and then topped it off with a 5-day cruise before they graduated. I hope that I've created a spirit of adventure for these girls and opened up doors for them that they may not have considered. I must say that it took 30 years of creative lessons and journeys to get through it all. This is Lilac Gallery. My sister from another mister. We met because of Mary Kay, and we have traveled together for business, and this alone has led me to even more adventure. We have so much fun together. The important thing about Lilac is that she annoys me a lot of times. This woman is a problem solver, though. She's a person who sits with me to solve life's problems. Some of the creative thinking and mapping that we have done in this class have been done with her. She helps me work through ideas and fine tunes the pros and cons, and then together we come up with the best solution. She is masterful, and I'm so grateful that she taught me some of these creative things along the way before I understood that I was being creative the whole time. I love this lady, even when she makes me mad. Well, we're getting close to the end, and I'm reminded of the sacrifices that my parents made to send me to UTEP, where I earned my first degree in computer science. And now the sacrifices my husband is making to help me get through this program. It includes giving up a huge chunk of our retirement. So I better get to thinking and problem solving, like perhaps mapping to find out a way to repay this debt. I'm never sorry for the twists and turns that my life has taken. I feel that now that my children are older, I can see some of that adventure inside of them. My son lived on a sailboat and actually sailed from New Jersey all the way back to Galveston with his wife. I don't care how creative I was in creating that spirit in him. I was a little scared every day they were at sea. The other picture is my daughter standing at the top of a Mayan temple. We had a private tour of this area, and she was the only one who had the courage to climb these narrow, steep steps. She earned the Spirit of Adventure award that day. Now I'm proud to watch my daughter teach her own children how to be creative. She allows them to be dirty and just explore and learn everything that they can. I love watching their eyes glow at each milestone in their lives. I am thankful for my husband, who is a quiet man who always says he doesn't have a creative bone in his body, and that's why he married me. Remember the image I shared about my daughter's bridal pictures? She really did get married at an antique car museum, and the women rather, in our family wore fascinators, and it was one of the most creative weddings I've ever attended. I'm so glad I kept making that list longer and longer. This location was just a shot in the dark on our list of places to consider, and it turned out to be the best choice ever. Next to my husband is my son. He's my level headed son who helps me calm down and helps me to be still. Now, don't get me wrong, we still go kayaking together, but it is because it's the stillness of the water that keeps him calm and helps me relax. Sometimes we just need a little bit of that. He also goes over my lists with me and helps me find solutions when I get stuck. I love this boy. This next picture is a group of people I count down no matter what. I think everyone needs a team to support you, and this is my go-to team. They're always there for me no matter how crazy my ideas get. In fact, my sister is a master planner, so when my creative ideas are not coming together the right way, just fixes everything and gets me back on track. Gotta have these kind of people in your life. As I wrap up my journey, I'm reminded that I may not always be treated like a queen everywhere I go. I know that underneath my quiet spirit is a creative queen working on her next project. I feel like the queen of making it come together, and that takes a creative mind. I just never saw it like that until I took this class. In the future, I see some of these creative outlets continue. The spirit of adventure will likely never stop. Our last assignment is proof of that. I still have so many places to see. Now I see myself being more creative in my classroom, telling stories and engaging students with technology. As I find the need for personal growth, I will be taking advantage of micro credentialing and other free trainings that will improve who I am and perhaps provide ideas for other changes in my life. I am not the creative genius that will find the cure for cancer. I'm the creative mom that is leaving a legacy of adventure, tradition, and magic. We have to be like kids sometimes and believe in the magic that comes from every bubble they blow. We do not know how high they will go or when they will pop, so we just keep blowing more. So that's what I do. I keep creating magic.